ladies, and welcome to The Beauty Shaman, where truth and beauty meet. So today I'm going to talk about a subject that has affected all of us since the start of COVID, and that is the dirty mask. I did this yesterday during a photo shoot. I just put my lipstick on, put the mask on, and I was planning to do this video, so I knew better, but I did it anyway. How many of these do you have? Like, how many of these dirty masks have you thrown away, right? I have a huge collection of masks because I just make such a mess. So I thought, let me do some research. Let me figure out what we can do. So this video is an outcome of that, of my kind of research on what we can do to still look pretty. And I think what's important here is the transition, right? Because you go maybe to work and you have to wear, or you go in public, and you have to wear a mask, and then maybe you'll sit down with a friend to have a glass of wine and you take your mask off, or a cup of tea, or whatever it is. Speaking of tea, what are you drinking? Thought I'd bring that up. I'm drinking a rose tea today. So really, really awesome. So get your cup of tea. If you haven't got it already, just hit pause, get some tea, because we need tea if we're going to talk about this. So then we have our cup of tea or a glass of wine, and then we got to put our mask back on. And during all of that, if you're anything like me, I like to look good. I like to look nice. I'm definitely not a diva. I don't need to look perfect when I walk out of the house, but I do want to look good. So how can you make that transition and not have it end up all over your mask and go through, you know, piles of these things, right? Or have to wash your mask all the time. So, I like the topic. I think it's interesting, and I've got some really good ideas for you. So before we get started, please visit my website at thebeautyshaman.com, where I have my blog and links and information, and I have a store. Also, please hit the subscribe button on the lower left there and hit the bell to be alerted every single time I upload a video. Okay, so for starters, with wearing a mask, one of the things I teach all the time with all of you and anyone that I'm dealing with in my business is that older women really need a dewy foundation. We need a light to medium coverage foundation because the heavier foundations set in fine lines and wrinkles. And typically, depends on the product, but typically that's how it is. So then how do we do that with a mask? Because that just means if it's dewy, if your skin is dewy, then it's just going to rub off, right? And I have more kind of normal to sort of oily skin because I take so many supplements, omega-3, 6, 9 oils, and I use, great moisturizer and skincare. So my skin tends to have a lot of hydration in it. So I definitely have this issue. But on the other hand, I don't want to wear a matte foundation because, then, you're going to see my beautiful, well-earned crow's feet here in the setting, right? So my suggestion here is if you have a dewy foundation, you can keep it. If you have something that's not so dewy, I think that's a better route to go. I'm going to use today it's Face and Body by MAC. This is not specifically a dewy foundation. So it doesn't say that in the title. It's not specific. I use a lot of the Jane Iredale products. The Liquid Minerals foundation isn't particularly dewy either. I think you just have to look at your foundation and see what you have. I'm going to use this. I'm also going to mix this with some setting spray, to help it stay on my face. I'll show you how to do that. We're also going to use primer. Primer is a key component here to keep your foundation on. This is a Smooth Affair Jane Iredale primer. I would check your primer and see if it is to make your skin more dewy, right? This one does not necessarily do that, so I'm going to give this one a go. I have been using this, actually. It's been really great. And what that does is it keeps your foundation on your skin, and it holds it to your skin more, which is what we're looking for here because we don't want it to rub off quite so easily on the matte. So that's why primers kind of come into more play here. And then we're going to talk about your eyes because literally, right, if we're wearing a mask all day, when you go to the store or whatever you're doing, like you're doing this, right? You've got your eyes to stand out. So I know we're all getting used to this, but, really the attention then needs to be majority on our eyes. Now, if you're anything like me, I tend to be a little lazy. I'd much rather wear lipstick than I'd wear tons of eyeshadow because it's a lot more difficult to apply. It's a lot more work to apply. I have at least over 100 lipsticks. Like, I love lipstick so much. I have a lipstick issue. Okay. I seriously have a lipstick issue. So I've had to kind of take my lipsticks and go, well, you're going to have to not be used quite so much. because the focus is my eyes. Now, that doesn't mean I don't wear lipstick. It just means that I'm going to put a greater focus on my eyeballs because that's what's standing out the most. Okay, so enough chit chat. So let's get going on this. So we're going to start. I've already hydrated my face. We're not going to talk about skincare today at all. And I'm going to use my primer, my Jane Iredale primer. So I'm just going to put, it's about that much. That's probably even a little bit too much, to be honest. And then I just apply it. Now, I use my hands when I make up my own face. If you watch my channel, you know this. I am a professional makeup artist. I work in television and print, and I live in Colorado. And so when I'm making up someone else, I don't use my hands, okay? All right, so I'm going to use the MAC Face and Body, and I think I've still got a little color here. We still have quite a bit of sunshine in Colorado right now. So there's a little bit of that. Now, I'm actually going to use a brush to put this on to demonstrate how to use the spray. You can actually go ahead and spray it on your hand, but I'm going to put it a little bit on my foundation brush. And this is the primer I'm going to use. So this is MAC. So this is Fix Plus Prep and Prime by MAC, and this is a setting spray. So this really helps your makeup to stay on all day. I use this a lot on brides who really need to look absolutely perfect all day long. So I'm going to spray my foundation on this, and then I'm going to apply it. Now, I guess you could do this on your hand. You could actually spray your hand. Okay, so that's my foundation put on with a brush using the fixing spray, the setting spray, excuse me. Just spray the brush and apply it. Now, you can also use this after, and we will be using this after I finish my full face makeup in order to get it to set. But that's an added step to spray the brush, but it does help to keep it on if your skin tends to bleed a lot more onto the mask, okay? So with your eyes, because this is what stands out the most, getting your concealer specifically to not rub off, right? Because that's also another thing that really rubs off is your concealer. Mine didn't rub off on this. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't have any on. Anyway, so I'm going to use the Amazing Concealer, and I'm just going to take a very small amount. You need so much less than you think you need with a lot of these products because they're very concentrated. So I'm just going to use a very, very small amount here so you can see that. And you don't have to put it on your hand. You can go directly from the bottle to your finger if you want. You can use a brush if you want. I mean, I'm not going to. So I just use it right in there. And then I'm just going to tap that in. And I take it over my lid because I have a lot of discoloration on my lids. And I just blend that. Now, I just made up a woman yesterday who had a lot of red right beneath her lashes right here. If you do, take this and go right underneath, like really get it right up there. I don't particularly have a lot of discoloration right there, but put this where there's discoloration. That's the key component here, is really pay attention to your face. Where's the discoloration? If you end up being able to clean out the eye area, like really get it all one color, your eye makeup is going to jump out so much more. And it's going to help wearing the mask because that's the focal point, right? So you can see where I put this. See how beautifully that just set in? Isn't that gorgeous? Now I've got some age spots on my nose. Oh, joy. So I'm going to just touch a little bit of concealer on my nose and just tap that in just to help minimize that. Those suckers have just gotten worse recently. I don't know what's up with that. It's all life, isn't it? Got another one over here. That one's going away. I put a little bit of 5% retinol on this one every single day. Truth Treatments sells a 5% retinol that I really love, and I recommend only if you don't have sensitive skin. If you have sensitive skin, don't go near it. It's too heavy. It's too strong of a retin A. I would say use the 1%, but even 1% can be a little much on some of you. I know one of you, I think Julie, I won't say your last name, sorry, but you tried the 1% and it was too strong. So you really, check your skin. Like if you have rosacea or any sensitivity, it's not a good idea. Go for the much lower retin A products. So anyway, there we go. And then I get a little dark right here. So I'm just going to blend that in. Just a little bit. But see, it doesn't set in fine lines, which is what I really like about this product. See how beautifully that just kind of took that out? Got a little bit of darkness up here. Now, I don't take this much time every day. You know that, right? I tend to be like slapdash like everybody else. But because of the mask issue, I think it's important that we know at least how to do this, right? So isn't that great? And it just cleaned up that side of my face. All right, let's do the other side. Okay, so I think that looks really good. So my eyes are completely cleaned up. I'm also going to take my concealer, and you can do this with your foundation, and cover my lips. And the reason why is this is going to help keep my lipstick to staying on. We're going to do a little bit of layering with lipstick here. For those of you who don't like matte lipstick. I actually like matte lipstick, but it does dry your lips out. So this is why we're going to do this. I'll get to that when we talk about lips. So, okay, so this looks really good. Now, the problem with now is if I don't powder this, and normally I don't powder my skin very much. I tend to really like a dewy finish. Powders tend to set in fine lines. So I tend to kind of walk around with a little bit more of a dewy look. However, this is coronavirus day and age, so we're going to use a little powder. So I'm going to use, this is matte blot powder in medium. I really like this powder because it's translucent. This is medium. It has a little bit of loose powder in there that I put in on set. And I'm going to take a brush. Where's a brush? Here's my brush. And I'm going to just lightly cover my concealer. So some of you with more oily skin are used to using powder. But what I'm going to do is be sure I set it more around my eyes. Now, if you watch any Instagram makeup or younger, anybody sort of under the age of 35, they are setting their makeup a lot heavier than any of us, any older woman would ever set. They use this. And this is called a beauty blender. So for those of you who have a beauty blender, you need to throw it away. There's one reason why you would still keep it. I'll get to that. But I don't like these for older women. The reason is that they apply the makeup, in my opinion, quite heavy. And I think for older women, we don't need heavy makeup. We need a sheerer, more translucent look. And this is not the secret to that. Okay. This is for somebody without any wrinkles. Now, the only difference where I would say, yes, you can use this is say you have discoloration, age spot, melasma, that sort of thing. I will do a video coming up on how to cover that. And I'm going to use a beauty blender because this does really apply it beautifully. You can also use your ring finger, which is also a great tool, right? And it's free. But you take that and you really rub this into the age spot is why you would use this. I would not use this. Some younger women use this to put their powder on. So they dip it in the powder and they really do what's called baking, okay? They bake it into their face, or they use a very stiff brush and they really like use that brush and work it into the skin. Okay, these are like bad news for anybody over the age of, I think, 35. It's just not, it's not good. I think it's better to use a really light, a brush with kind of a looser bristles to it so that it doesn't have that same grinding into the skin sort of thing. And as you notice, if you look, that's set it. So it's, in other words, it's not going to rub off as easily. Now, not to say it's not going to rub off at all, but it's not going to rub off as easily. Okay. So that's why I used it. And if you can tell, I definitely deliberately applied it around my eyes. Okay. I need a drink of tea. Okay, so now I look like a real pasty person, right? I look really pasty. So because I've washed my whole face out. All right, so we're going to go into adding some shape and color and everything else. Okay, so for starters, we're going to fill in my eyebrows. For those of you that are need to fill in your eyebrows, many of us do as we get older because our eyebrows become thinner. So we're going to do that. Okay, I found my eyeshadow I'm going to use for my eyebrows. All right, so this is it here. This is called Concrete by MAC, and I use a thin brush. I like to use eyeshadow to fill in my brows. I just like the more natural look to that. You can also use a pencil. I've done several videos on eyebrows. Let me know if you're interested in me doing more of that subject. I'm happy to do that. So with my eyebrows, I have pretty good eyebrows. So what I'm going to do is just make them a little bit more filled in towards the outer edge. So the way I know how far to go is you measure it. So it should go out to about there. That's to give your eyes a really nice shape. And the reason why this is so great is then you can actually wear stronger lipstick, even though it's covered up by the mask. You know, you might have a hot date. I don't know. Okay. So then I don't fill in this part. Because on me, I think it looks too like Groucho Marx, right? So I just keep the attention on that outer edge. So I get that really nice arch. Okay, so you've got a really nice arch here and I've got an arch here. Now my eyebrows are not perfect and I actually like it that way. So call me crazy, but I don't go for perfection when it comes to faces or bodies or anything. I think we're all individuals, we're all real people. I prefer to look my highest and best good as opposed to let me just try to make everything absolutely symmetrical and perfect and as if that's some sort of a standard. It's not, in my opinion. My standard is not the world standard. My standard is what's the best thing for me? And I think that should be the way you look at it too, right? Don't you think? All right, so let's keep going. Let's do a little bit of contour. So the color tones I'm going to use today when it comes to contour and the rest of the makeup I'm going to do for autumn, in honor of autumn. I love autumn. It's my favorite time of year. I just love all the leaves changing and the temperature cooling down. It's so awesome. All right, so I'm going to do everything in sort of a warm tone. I've also got a shirt with a little bit of warmth to it, so that's good. All right, so this is Aruba by Bobbi Brown. It's basically a bronzer. I'm going to just apply that for that kind of sun-kissed look. So I think this is just really pretty and really soft. And it's not like a heavy, you see a lot of this really heavy contour look right now. And I don't really go for that. I think, I'm just going to warm my cheeks up a little bit. Now this has a tiny bit of iridescent to it. I don't notice that comes off on the mask personally. So let me know if you think it does. I think it's okay to use them. And I like a little bit of shine. All right, so now I'm going to do a little bit of blush. I'm just going to grab my little blush brush here, and I'm going to use a warm blush. Again, we're staying with the warmth of the season. Not the warmth, but the color of the season. And I'm just going to pop it right on my cheekbone. Just pop it. A little bit on my eyebrow. Now, nobody's going to see this, right, under the mask, but we're going to take the mask off, and we're going to have our cup of tea, right? Okay, so now let's do eyes, and then we'll do lips last. So for eyes, I've tried to really make this matte so that it doesn't come off. Now, the other thing I've noticed about eyes is if you use a lot of eyeshadow underneath, the mask will tend to rub on that as well. So one of the key components here, I think, of your eyes, not only making them stand out more, is give a go some waterproof eyeliner. If you're going to do stuff under your eye. I don't tend to do a lot under my eye because I have, especially right now, I've got some allergies because of the season. So my circles are more now than normal. But that's okay. Like it'll pass, right? Give it another 2 weeks and this should deplete a bit. In any case, so one of the products I'm going to use here is by MAC. It's called Brown Border. This is a Kajal waterproof. I believe it's water repellent, not waterproof, but that's good enough, right? This definitely works. And it's a brown. So we're just going to go for some, again, the colors of the season. And I'm going to use that. So, but for eyeshadow, because we're going to really do up the eyes, okay? So today is eyes. I'm going to use this Lorac Pro palette. I've used this in a couple videos. I really like it. I think it's a beautiful palette. Look at all that. Just beautiful fall colors. I'm such a fan. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use just kind of a rosy color all over my lid. I want my lids to pop a little bit. So I'm going to put a little bit of a pink color here and I'm going to go on my lid. Now again, we're going to make our eyes pop. So if you're going to do that, a lot of times using a lighter color on your eyelid with a darker liner and a darker crease is really going to add a lot more dimension to your eyes. So, which is so fun, right? So that's good. So see how much that made my lids kind of pop out? Okay, so now I'm going to do some eyeliner. I'm going to use the Kajal waterproof pencil, and I'm going to go in my waterline. So if you don't do waterline when you do your makeup, I highly recommend giving this a go. It can make a huge difference, and it's super simple. I made up a woman yesterday. I gave a lesson yesterday, and she doesn't wear hardly any makeup, but wanted to know how to look more polished for her business. So this is what we talked about. One of the things we talked about is just take this color and go right underneath your lashes. Look at that. It just pops your eyes out. It's really simple, works really well. I totally recommend giving this a go. Brings out your eye shape. And she had a really beautiful eye shape. So I love that look. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing and I'm going to go between the lashes on the upper. So this is a little bit harder, a little bit more technical. I'll come from underneath and I'm going to pull my eye. I'm sorry, for those of you who want to yell at me about that, go ahead. I know there's going to be a few. We're going to go, don't pull your eye. But I have a hard time seeing otherwise. So I'm just going to put that between my lashes and just work it slowly along to get it between my lashes. Now I'm not putting a huge amount on the inside, right? Because I really want the inside to stand out. To just have that line. See how concise that is? I like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take the outside and I'm going to pull this up a little bit. I'm going to do a tiny wing just because we're bringing out our eyes. So I'm going to measure so I can see that lower, whoops, that lower lash line, the angle. And I'm going to follow that angle just a bit. I'm not going to do a huge line there. And then I'm going to connect this and my upper just to give it a little bit of a cute little wing there. Why not? Older women can do this for sure. I think it's a good idea to really blend though, to not have it look too harsh for the most part. But isn't that pretty? I'm going to soften that down a little bit, but right now you can see just how cute that is. So it's nice to be cute, right? Okay, so I've got both eyeliners done in the waterproof eyeliner, and then I'm going to run this brush on top of this just to soften it up a little bit so that that line isn't quite so much of a line. So I think for we older women, you know, we don't want to have lines. So I am doing my eyes up a bit, so we are going to get some line, but I want to soften it down. You can also use your finger. Just going to tap it in a little bit. See, that's just kind of softened it down a bit. And if you make a mistake, you can just use a matching, whatever matches the eyeliner pencil, which on this palette is that color. And I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to make that line a little bit more the same as the other one. Okay, so now we're going to do a crease, and I am going to put a little bit underneath, not a lot, because on me it runs down my face. If it doesn't run down your face, go for it. But what I'm going to do is do a crease color, and then I'm going to put that at the bottom. Okay, so to do a crease, I'm going to do this brush, which is like a crease brush. Has a little bit of a tip. And I'm going to use this color here, this terracotta, which I totally have a crush on. I've been using it on lots of people. It's a beautiful, warm color to go along with our theme. And I'm going to do this just in the crease. See how I really focus that right on that outer edge? And you just have to do small movements and just kind of play with it. Kind of hold it just directly in front, the brush, and blend it. Isn't that nice? But look how much my eye just popped out. All right, so now I'm going to use that exact same color that I used in the crease, and I'm going to pull it underneath. This is just a nice, warm terracotta color. Now, if you feel like this deadens you, like if everything is brown, right? If you've got brown hair and brown eyes and brown skin and everything's brown, then this color tone, you might need to use a cooler tone or a stronger. So modify this according to your skin color, of course. That makes perfectly good sense, doesn't it? So that looks nice. So it just warmed up that whole eye area, but I still am bringing out my eyes with the really cute eyeliner on top. And if you want, you can take that dark brown shade and pull it down a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that just for kicks and giggles. So just underneath, but right next to the lashes. So really specific, really, really careful, right? We're not going to pull it all the way under because I think can be too much on older women. Just depends. Now I'm going to do a little bit of glamour because doggone it, we have to have glamour in our lives. I'm going to use this color right here. And I'm going to put my finger in it and I'm going to tap it and I'm going to go right on my eyelid. Just a little bit, just to give a little bit of glamour. If you feel ambitious, you can also use a lighter color and just go up in here just to really bring out that. Now that's a little bit of glimmer in there too, so that's awfully cute. This is called gold, of course. And let's talk a little bit about mascara, actually. This is a topic I want to hit. So this is Maybelline Great Lash. This is my favorite mascara. For those of you who spend more on your mascara, go for it. What I want to talk about with mascara is how to really make your eyelashes stand out. So what I'm going to talk about is how to put it on so that your lashes really pop. So I'm going to take the tip. So if you notice, I took this and I went like that and really got a lot on it. Don't pump it because you'll just pump air into it and it'll dry out quicker. And I'm going to go use that tip, and I'm going to run it to really coat the lashes. You run it all along. Now, I'm not going to put any on the lower lashes because on me it bleeds. If it doesn't bleed on you, by all means. And then I take this and I comb it up. And you can go back and redip, right? Do that whole move it around. And you can also take this and get right down to the root and pull it up. That also really helps. Really makes them look thicker and longer. So if you're not a fan of matte lipsticks, use your regular lipstick, your creamy lipstick, and just layer it. So do like I did, I really dried my lips out with my concealer and some powder, and then you do lipstick, powder, lipstick, and powder, and then that should stay on when it's creamy color. You can also do this with matte lipsticks. I am going to use a matte lipstick today. It's a matte color, and I'll have to put it down below what color it is because I don't know because it's in my kit, so it's in my like array of colors here. So I'm just going to use, it's sort of a warm, lovely peachy tone of what we're looking at here, and this is definitely a matte lipstick. So I'm going to take this and apply it. But even matte lipsticks, once you put them on, sometimes you need to powder them. So that technique of drying your lips out, lipstick powder, right? That's going to keep it on if it's not a matte. Because this is a matte lipstick, it is going to stay on better though. And I'm going to do a little lip liner. So lip liner really helps it not bleed, which I appreciate, right? You too. It doesn't go in the fine lines that we all have. So I like this color. Now I'm going to use my MAC medium blot powder with a brush. You can also use like a tissue or something. Let's use a tissue just for variance here. And I'm just going to touch that into the powder. Okay, so now I have done my entire face. Everything is matte, and I'm going to put a little bit more setting spray. Couldn't come up with the word there. Setting spray from MAC on top, so I'm just going to spray it. Okay, so I have sprayed my face with the Fix Plus from MAC, and my makeup is on. Okay, this stuff it's on, but I don't feel like it looks heavy, right? I think it looks attractive. I don't think it looks like I've just put a bunch of matte makeup all over my face. All right, so let's do the test here with the mask and see how well I did. So put this on. Around my face. Oh, I hate wearing these. I don't know. What do you think? I know it's necessary. I believe that it's important, but at the same time, it's so irritating. All right, so now I've got it on my face. Let's see what happens. All right. Oh, just on my nose, little tiny bit on my nose. So I think that's pretty awesome, right? That did pretty well. So I think these are great tips in order to use. So get your primer, your setting spray, layer your lipstick, and I think it will hold up a lot better. And as you notice, I don't look particularly matte either. Like even though I've used all these products that are not particularly creamy, I think it looks pretty dewy. So that's encouraging. So anyway, wear your mask. I hope this has been helpful. Please write down below if you have any questions or thoughts. I really love to hear from you, and I always write back. And thank you so much for watching The Beauty Shaman.